Childcare has become a regular part of the lives of many children. In these settings, they learn, play, make friends, and develop important social skills. When families send their children to childcare, they expect a safe, nurturing environment where their children feel welcomed and at ease. But some parents do not have the same childcare choices.
You know, they say, oh, no, we have stairs up to the door, I'm sorry, you can't come here. Or you could come here, but you're going to have to carry him in and out. Well, I don't know, the doorways aren't wide enough for a wheelchair. We haven't had a child with special needs here before. I don't think we can do that.
Sometimes the center that's closest to their home, or the family daycare provider that's closest to their home, that they feel would work best for them, isn't part of the spaces available either. So it means that they're going to have to look at transporting their child out of their community area to try and find a space for their child.
Can I go on the next page now?
It's very important for Robbie to have supports in the community that he comes from, rather than traveling 8 miles to go to speech therapy or occupational therapy, because it takes a lot of time out of my day to bring him to another setting to get that support, and I did that when he was very little. But in his regular school, in his regular home community, he doesn't have to travel out of there to get those supports. And then he's building some kind of trust relationship with people that he goes to school with and the people in his area, and he knows where he comes from. It's his community.
Every child and every family needs to be a part of their home community. Support systems and networks are really important, particularly now that we don't have the big extended families nearby. We used to look at professional people as being supports for families with children with extra needs. But in fact, those people go home at the end of the day. They're not available on the weekends or during their holiday time. If a family with a child with extra needs is having to transport that child way out of their community in order to get services to meet that child's needs, then they're not building those home supports.
It's important that he develops that relationship from the beginning, and then that whole support system will be in place for him as he gets older and goes through difficult transitions and needs some friends to rely on, or some professionals or teachers or whatever. He'll have started building that and can add to it, and it will accumulate and grow, and the community will grow with him.
In the past, children who required extra support were segregated from other children, but over the years parents have requested and then eventually demanded that their child be able to go to any childcare setting, and that could be a group daycare, preschool, out-of-school care, or family daycare. And that really means inclusion, and that is the supported childcare initiative.
Today, supported childcare is a vision of childcare which promotes the same childcare choices for all families. It ensures that extra supports are available for children to be included with their peers. This is called inclusion and gives parents and children an equal opportunity to meaningfully participate in their local neighborhood's childcare program.
The Supported Childcare Initiative is a commitment by government and essentially the entire community to provide the supports, whether those are professional or financial, to families and to childcare providers who are including those children in their settings.
What we've heard from the community is that we need more than just the extra set of hands concept. You need to have some kind of coordinated planning for children, individualized planning, consultation available for the childcare providers. Sometimes you do need an extra staff person. Sometimes you need training for staff, equipment loan. That, to me, again, is the exciting potential here, is that we're able to individualize not just to the child, but to the childcare setting and say, tell us about you, tell us what you need, and then again we'll sit down and figure out how we can do that. Hopefully with the Supported Childcare Initiative, what will happen is there will be a greater exchange of information so that care providers and preschools and daycares will see that maybe it's not such a big deal. Maybe there's not so much to be afraid of.
I believe it's important for children to be in an inclusive setting. Then you start life out almost on an equal footing with everybody else. To me, children who have special needs or handicaps are regular people, regular little spirits, or regular kids who just need some help.
It's important to understand that supported childcare is a principle-driven initiative. That means that a family or a childcare provider can be confident that when they meet a supported childcare consultant, or if a family is approaching a center that people consider inclusionary, that there are certain values that everyone shares. And these values would be individualized programming, family-centered care, and shared responsibility.
Recognized his face. Grandpa Kurt, I cried.
It's very important for me to have I and Robbie's dad to have a say in what goes on with his education in the school setting and in the daycare setting. It gives us more control over what we believe is best for Robbie. Sometimes I believe, though, that professionals think with a squeaky wheel, but a squeaky wheel that gets the oil is the one that gets the education my child needs.
The principle of family-centered care simply means that the supported child care initiative is dedicated to the belief that families are the most important factor in a child's life, and that it is the family that really guides what will happen to that child.
I would really like to see the field trips wheelchair accessible, and I'd like to see some books added into the class library that show children using wheelchairs.
One of my initial roles as a supported child care consultant is to facilitate the supports that a parent and child care providers feel are necessary in order to make the inclusion of a child successful.
If we could have the mat out in the playground just smoothed out a little bit so that the children could push him around in the wheelchair in the playground outside.
I'll call, or a parent will call me in order to meet, and we'll sit down and talk about what they feel their child requires in, let's say, a group daycare setting for supports. Then the parent and I will take that description of their child and go to a child care provider, where together we'll work out the actual supports that we need to be putting in place. That could be an assistant, that could be training, or even specialized equipment to make that child care setting inclusionary.
I do want to be very much involved in planning for Spencer, and I believe that I have a lot to offer, a lot of information to share with caregivers, and I'm the one that's there to sort of bridge the gaps between different professionals that he may see, different therapists or doctors or whatever, and I'm the one that ties the continuity together. And put it over here.
A parent knows their child best, and a parent knows what their dreams for their child are. And I think they're your guide. They're your touchstone for what that child's inner spirit is. And I think that you work in partnership. You work together, taking that dream or that desire of that family, and then trying to put it into something concrete. How would that look in our center? How does that fit in our center? And try to make it come to fruition